Hi, everyone. My name is Grayson DeWolf, joined by the extremely talented Angelo Hunter, and we are so excited to be providing you week 1 of the Sootopolis City League, and it's a very exciting match. How you doing, Angelo?
I'm doing great. Super excited to be here. Super excited to watch some very exciting no max Pokemon battles, which is a bit new for this Sword and Shield generation here.
Absolutely. The Spike Month Cup, based off of the city where you cannot Dynamax. I'm really also excited to not see any restricteds on the field. We have a really exciting lineup going on here. We have a matchup from Ally of the Aloha Arachnids versus Ding from the Salage City Colossals. Hopefully I said that city name right. But yeah, let's look at the matchup here as we get into looking at these teams. From my end, I'm really excited, especially just seeing some Ultra Beasts on both of these sides. Seeing the Naganadel over on Ally side is a really exciting thing to see. I remember back in Series 9 when we had a rule set to what we're playing today, not really seeing a whole lot of those, and it's a very unique Pokemon. And also over on Diny's side, we also see the Celesteela as well. So what do you see in here, Angelo?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a different sort of play style that we're used to seeing with the Dynamax format. It's going to be a lot of different repositioning, getting in your fake out users so that you can set up or get speed control. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of different variations of Pokemon. I also see the Suicune there is something you do not see in Dynamax formats too often. But it should be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and also it's fun to see we have the Regieleki on both sides, but really important that I'm seeing is the Rillaboom versus the Indeedee. As might be, there's no weather on either side, but it might be a bit of terrain control happening with as well as the Tapu Fini as well. And seeing what the Indeedee is there for, I almost wonder if it's there for redirection away from the Naganadel, which is known for being kind of a bit of a glass cannon. So yeah, I think that Diny also has a really good offensive pieces between the Spectrier and the Landorus. I'm just really excited to see what these teams do because from a bird's eye view, there's not a ton of conventional things necessarily on either side. So really interested to know how these play out.
Yeah, definitely. Terrain's definitely going to be more important here with more increased usage of fake out and other priority moves.
Well, without further ado, let's please get into this match between Ally and Diny. We're so excited to be doing this and bring you game 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have over on Diny's side, we have a Regieleki with a Spectrier, and over on Ally's side, a bit more of a defensive lead, I would say. We have an Incineroar and a Suicune.
Yeah, very interesting position on both sides. Ally seems like they're prioritizing getting something like a Tailwind off, or maybe even something like a Snarl with that fake out next to Incineroar. And Diny looks like they want to go fast for sure. They have the Regieleki, which has access to Electro Web, and they also have Spectrier, which could go for damage reducing moves like Will-O-Wisp or Snarl, or just get damage off with a Shadow Ball. But I don't think it loves its position too much in front of this Incineroar and Suicune, two opponents that it can't really break through easily.
Absolutely. And also just knowing how much damage output is potentially over on Diny's side with the Regieleki staring down the Suicune. I'm very excited to see what happens. A fake out does go into the Regieleki, making it sure that it is going to flinch and not do much this turn, as we see a taunt come out, maybe anticipating a Tailwind from the Suicune, and sure enough, we do see a Tailwind unable to go off on Ally's side.
Yeah, so Diny really prioritizing going first. Gonna go ahead and take the fake out on the Regieleki. You're not in too much danger of getting knocked out by anything other than Incineroar, so free to throw that taunt out into Suicune, and now that Suicune is unable to get the speed control that the other side needs to go first and do big damage.
Absolutely. We also got a little look that Naganadel is in the back, and it is holding a Life Orb. I'm really excited to know if the game plan for Ally is to have a late game, just late sweep with Naganadel. Interested to see, but how much does this Volt Switch do into the Suicune? It does about 30%. We do see that the Wakan Berry is revealed, meaning that if Regieleki comes back later in the game and is able to land electric tap on the Suicune, I think it might go down to it if we see in our Volt Switch. So good information going forward for both these players moving forward. But interested to see what the third Pokemon in the back is from Diny. We see such an offensive lead from that side, and what is in the back, but it is the Rillaboom, which is certainly making Suicune feel in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah, definitely. Very good reveal of the Wakanberry, like you said, on the Suicune.
We do see the Shadow Ball coming off. Let's see how much this does in the Suicune. We do see Diny really just wanting to target into the Suicune and kind of get rid of it. And in my time playing Suicune, it can be a kind of bit of a pain sometimes, so I can understand why. But an Icy Wind comes off, potentially not only breaking a Focus Sash on the Spectrier, but also is going to lower the speed, which could really make a difference moving forward. And a Flare Blitz that was inside of that Regieleki slot catches the Rillaboom on the switch and making a clean knockout for that Rillaboom. And that was an excellent turn for Ally.
Yeah, so after what it seemed like a great turn one for Diny, you know, they get the Volt Switch off into the Suicune, they get some good information, and they think that they're, you know, they might be able to get their Rillaboom in safely without getting an Intimidate from the Incineroar. And they actually just leave their Spectre exposed, and it actually turns out that the Flare Blitz goes into the Regieleki slot, and the Rillaboom is no longer on the field. So, and then also Ally has revealed that they have additional speed control options with the Icy Wind in Suicune. So, very interesting turn of events there.
Yeah, we see the Regieleki come back and take the field after the fallen Rillaboom. I can't imagine how excited Ally was to see that Rillaboom switch in on the Volt Switch. That moments like that are always just a blast if you're on Ally's side. But Diny really needs to figure out how they're going to come back from this. I do think that Rillaboom is a really big piece, and there is a lot of pressure with the Regieleki onto that Suicune, maybe wanting to switch out into something that can take a little better. But anything that the Regieleki fires off in that slot is going to have a decent chip on whatever comes in. So really interested to see how this turn plays out and what Spectre might be able to do. But no, the Spectre does withdraw. We're going to see the fourth Pokemon and last one from Diny, and it is going to be the Landorus, which I think is a decent bring here, assuming that there isn't an Icy Wind coming off of the Suicune later in this turn. That might mean some bad news. But this Volt Switch goes into the Suicune. Is it enough to knock it out? And sure enough, yes it is. We do see Suicune is going to be knocked out here, and we're gonna have to see what Diny brings out. I think it's only that last Pokemon there, but the Incineroar still has the opportunity to parting shot into the Landorus, which might mean that Landorus is going to be stuck with some low damage output. And no, a U-turn comes out, making me wonder if it's an Assault Vest Incineroar. We're going to see so much pivoting, and it's kind of fun not having Dynamax here because of seeing some of the old traits of VGC of how much pivoting is involved. And now there is a decision that needs to be made on if you bring the Urshifu or the Naganadel, and it looks like Ally is electing for the Urshifu.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on there. Lots of pivoting going on. The Aleki electing to Volt Switch again, bringing the Spectre out and bringing the Landorus in the other slot, eliminating those Icy Wind boosts and taking out the Suicune. And Ally here is going to go ahead and send out the Urshifu, threatening both Mons really because it's ignoring the Intimidate drop and threatening the Spectre with a Wicked Blow as well.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if Diny is excited to see the Urshifu on the other side, especially knowing that it is the dark form. And so if there is a sash on that Spectre, the grassy terrain has brought it back up to full. So that would be an interesting reveal, knowing if there's a sash on the Spectre. Hard to know as of now. But another interesting decision that needs to be made. Incineroar with the Assault Vest could lower the attack on the Landorus, but also give a good matchup versus the Spectre. So Incineroar might be a great bring here. We don't necessarily know how much damage output this Naganadel has into these Pokemon. So a tough decision over here on Ally's side as they do decide to go a little bit more of the defensive route and bring in the Incineroar.
Yeah, and looking at this Incineroar, we see the Assault Vest, which is a bit of an interesting item choice, but you know, it is early format, and there's not sort of a standardized Incineroar set that has been going around yet, so the Assault Vest makes sense. And looking at this matchup, it actually looks like it's going to be pretty important if you're able to get rid of that Landorus. The Assault Vest is really going to help it out against the Spectre, and it might even be able to tank a couple Aleki hits, even with the damage that's left on it. So we'll have to see if Ally decides to go ahead and try and preserve the health on the Incineroar while also putting on offensive pressure with that Urshifu, which also has a very good matchup into Diny's team.
Yeah, I think Ally is just such a solid spot. Not only just removing the Rillaboom so quickly in this match, but also just how a will-o-wisp is
Ooh.
revealed on the Spectre. That is going to be potentially massive. The Urshifu being burned is going to have even the Wicked Blow here going to be doing significantly less damage, but I wonder who was targeted. It was the Spectre, and after the will-o-wisp, it is able to hang on, and we still don't know if it's a sash or not. And Earth Power comes out, revealing that it is a special Landorus, at least to some extent, with a critical hit, and that Assault Vest is certainly going to be useful in this situation. Now that we know there's an Earth Power on that Landorus, the Flare Blitz comes out and is going to do a little bit of damage, but with a Rocky Helmet reveal, Incineroar is knocked out. That was a crazy turn.
Yeah, really good turn for Diny there. Able to burn the Urshifu, hang on from the Wicked Blow, not even going down to a sash. Oh, and we do see leftover, so it didn't even have sash. It's just bulky enough to take a burned Wicked Blow. And then we did see the special Landorus revealed with the Rocky Helmet, and the Incineroar, took a fair bit of damage with the critical hit, and thanks to the Rocky Helmet on Diny's side, it was able to, be taken out. And now Ally's in a weird situation where they have their last two remaining Pokemon and no way to outspeed the Spectre, and one of their main damage dealers in Urshifu is burned, so it's a bit of an issue there.
Yeah, this is kind of an awkward place for both trainers. We do see that despite an early lead, Ally is down to the final two, and there's a lot being... I think this Urshifu can still do a lot of damage. Regieleki is already chipped in the back. Both of these Pokemon over on Diny's side can probably go down to a combination of moves from either of these things. I think targeting is going to be really important for this next turn, and how much damage output that this Lander can do is also going to be important. I think it's already been intimidated and hasn't been switched out, so we do see it go for Protect. Interesting here, this Urshifu, if it targets into, it's not going to matter a whole lot, but the Sucker Punch does correctly call an attack coming out from the Calyrex, and Calyrex is going to be going down, and this is going to come down to 2v2.
Yeah, very interesting. We also see the Naganadel with a Draco Meteor into the Protect there. So the Elekey seems a bit threatening at this point, but I think that it's low enough, and even though Urshifu's burned, it should be able to pick it off with a Sucker Punch, and then that Landorus is kind of a sitting duck. Now that it's protected at this point also, you can freely just target it with the Naganadel and hope to... as the Regieleki comes in there, I'm realizing it is definitely not in range of a Sucker Punch. So
no, there's been some recovery from the grassy terrain for sure.
That's right.
But especially with it being burned, though, I would imagine that Naganadel, it is effective to an Earth Power. I wonder how much an Earth Power coming off of this Landorus is going to do into it. The Intimidate is not going to matter on the Earth Power, so that's still a full-powered Earth Power coming out from the Landorus. But Naganadel is pretty fast, so if it can take a hit from Regieleki, fire back, and do enough chip to either of these Mons, Ally still might be in it. But regardless, I'm very impressed with the late game kind of momentum shift going into Diny's favor here with how these Mons are coming out and towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. I think Ally definitely needs a KO this turn to stay in the game, especially with the speed on Diny's side. So let's see what goes on here.
Yeah, a Protect coming out here, probably anticipating that Earth Power. And oh my word, that Thunderbolt was enough to knock out that Urshifu from pretty much full HP. And all of a sudden, Diny's in a commanding position. The Earth Power does indeed target in there, but I think Urshifu needed to survive that Thunderbolt if Ally had a chance here.
Yeah, and Urshifu doesn't have the best special defense in the world, so but even then it is just a Thunderbolt, and that makes you wonder if the Elekey is something like Choice Specs. That is something that's been pretty popular here in the early meta, so definitely gonna have to watch out for that. But now Ally's in a bit of a weird spot where they're not able to outspeed, and they might go down to something like a combination of a Thunderbolt plus Earth Power.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Naganadel is not necessarily known for being the bulkiest on the special defense or the HP side. It's very much a very speedy special attacker. So Draco Meteor is enough to take out this Landorus. That's good information going into game 2. But we already saw that... Oh no, but it's special attack rising. I was thinking if the speed was risen over on Ally side, and maybe you get a critical hit with the Draco Meteor into the Regieleki, you might have a win condition. But unfortunately, we already saw that Thunderbolt did over half damage to this Naganadel. So I think as long as this connects, and obviously it does, there's no way that... Sure enough, Diny is going to be taking game 1. What an incredible comeback after a really rough first couple of turns.
Yeah, it was a pretty back and forth game there. It's funny that you mentioned the speed boost. I was actually thinking that as the Draco Meteor animation was going off, I've been using Naganadel a bit, and I know we can get either boost, and I thought, the special attack boost wouldn't help the pair. The speed boost might win them the game. But yeah, really back and forth here, and it looks like we're jumping straight into game two.
That's right. I am super excited to see what the adjustments were between these two trainers. I really thought that, we're going to see a Tapu Fini coming out from Diny. We're still going to see the Regieleki, and we're also going to see a new mode from Ally side. We're going to see that in DD paired up with the Naganadel, which makes me wonder if it's follow me, take the pressure away from Naganadel, and just let Naganadel go wild.
Yeah, really interesting adjustment by Diny. I wonder if they, expected the Indeedee lead from Ally and just left the Spectre at home or maybe in the back, because Spectre put in a lot of work that first game. So I'm a bit surprised to not see it in the lead here. But, Aleki's still putting on some good pressure with, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, assuming it has the Electro Web as well to lower the speed. And, Tapu Fini is not, it's able to switch out and not take a Sludge Bomb, but otherwise, yeah, it's a pretty offensive pressure position from Diny.
Absolutely. We do see that Ally is considering the follow me, going to be bringing that pressure away from Naganadel. Although, to be fair, I'm curious to know if a poison attack into that Tapu Fini would justify. We're going to see the Tapu Fini feeling pressured from probably that Sludge Bomb is designed to go in. And we do see the Spectre is in the back. Very interesting coming out here. A very important reveal over on Diny's side. And we do see follow me. The Volt Switch coming through leads me to believe that I think that is Specs damage. That is so powerful. Or Regieleki is not a Life Orb. So I would imagine there's some sort of... it could also be Magnet, I suppose. But a lot of damage output coming from that Regieleki for sure. As we do see that Tapu Fini just kind of switches the slots over. Kind of an invisible ally switch, really. But with that Mystery Terrain is going to come on the field. Might come into play later. But the Sludge Bomb does come through onto the Spectre, and then it's going to do, not very effective. It's only going to do about 30%. Life Orb is going to be revealed on the Naganadel again, and we do see that the leftovers on the Spectre are going to be boosting it up.
Yeah, you don't typically think of Spectre as a defensive switch-in, but for this case against poison attacks, with its decent special bulk, it can definitely do the job. And, with that Volt Switch, definitely looks like Specs damage, like you said. Able to get the Tapu Fini in and reset the terrain. Diny's obviously not, going to take advantage of it right away. There's no really priority threats on their side with the Spectre and Tapu Fini, but, definitely in a good position to go for something like a Snarl to reduce the damage of this Naganadel.
Absolutely. And I do wonder if there is some pressure on the Indeedee as well. I would imagine that Indeedee is going to be kind of a big problem for Diny with everyone, because I think the only spread move we've seen so far is Snarl. But look at how much damage that still does. That's some excellent chip on the Naganadel. Going to be lowering the special attack by one stage, and sure enough, the Protect is paying off.
Yeah, definitely. And Diny's in a position now where they can just keep spamming Snarl and maybe click some spread moves with Tapu Fini to avoid the follow me, get some good damage off on anything that wants to switch in, or try and chip away at this Naganadel.
We do see that there is the helping hand that is being considered, which I'm curious. The Spectre, if it keeps firing off Snarls, this Naganadel is going to be reduced to just doing minimal damage. I wonder if the game plan on Ally side is just to chip at this point away as much with Naganadel and then let your Shifu in the back do most of the KOing. But I do feel like Diny is in a pretty good position right now. Like, if you're Diny, you're not really worried about a whole lot right now. You're looking at a -1 Naganadel who's going for helping hand here. We'll have to see how much this does. Might see a little bit of damage output. But no, the Snarl comes out again, which means that we're now looking at a helping hand, but -2 special attack Naganadel. We'll have to see how much damage is. We do not see a switch out from the Tapu Fini, which means if a Sludge Bomb is going into the slot, there's going to be a lot happening. But we can see a Citrus Berry revealed on the Indeedee. That is an interesting reveal. Very important as the Sludge Bomb does go off. Wow. And oh my word, that still does so much damage with Helping Hand. And we do see a Regenerative Berry over on the Tapu Fini side as well. Another Citrus Berry. And we see a Dazzling Gleam coming out. And that's going to do neutral damage to Naganadel. And it holds on with 2 HP.
Wow, yeah, so Ally's Naganadel able to survive there, but not sure how much longer it's going to stick around. One more attack with Life Orb's definitely going to take it out. and it is under pressure from Snarls from the Spectre. So we definitely see the power of Snarl Spectre there, lowering the Naganadel down enough to where even with a helping hand and a life orb, the Tapu Fini is able to hang on from the Sludge Bomb and get its recovery with Citrus Berry. Also, interesting reveal, the Citrus Berry on Indeedee. I wasn't sure if we saw a Psychic Seed at the beginning there, but the Citrus Berry definitely confirms that this Indeedee is able to stick around a bit longer.
Yeah, and Incineroar makes for a great pivot here. I don't think we've seen any water attacks coming off this Tapu Fini, and normally for these sets, a lot of times a water move is just left at home. So this Incineroar feels like a pretty safe switch in just to protect that Naganadel and let it try to fire off attack later. Maybe when Spectre is off the field, so that way it's the first thing to move. But we do see Indeedee feeling some pressure again, probably thinking that a Snarl might be enough to knock it out, and is going to go for a Protect. This Snarl is going to do incredibly little to this Incineroar, especially with the Assault Vest on the Incineroar. But I'm interested to know what this Tapu Fini is doing. It stayed in and did not protect in front of... Oh my word, it's setting up. It's going for a Calm Mind. An excellent read from Diny. I think you just figure that, like, I don't have any pressure from your side right now. I might as well start boosting up, and this Tapu Fini is going to be a huge problem for Ally.
Yeah, pretty low drawback play there from Diny. You figure you might even KO the Indeedee at this range from a Snarl, and you're definitely gonna KO the Naganadel. So you might as well just click the Snarl button and get your boost going in case just in case you need to get the Tapu Fini rolling. But I mean, Ally has a very passive Pokemon on the field right now. It is putting pressure on that Spectre with the Incineroar. But otherwise not threatening too much damage here, and Diny's pretty free to just do whatever they want.
Absolutely. I think the steering wheel is definitely over on Diny's side, really leading this game and driving everything that's happening so far. I think we're gonna have to see a big turn in Ally's favor in order to kind of level this out. But we do see a helping hand into the Incineroar happening here, and we're going to see what they go for. The Snarl comes out again, probably just trying to remove this Indeedee because it's been kind of a pain over for Diny, but sure enough, that Snarl is enough for Indeedee to go down, and all of that redirection and extra offensive support with the helping hand is gone. But most importantly, not only does Tapu Fini have a special attack boost, but now... Whoa, we do sure enough see a water type attack going, a +1 special attack. Tapu Fini is going to almost knock out this Assault Vest Incineroar. It survives just in time to fire off with the Darkest Lariat, and that should be enough to take out the knockout. That was a crazy turn, a huge reveal for the Tapu Fini, but also getting that Spectre off the field is a huge win for Ally. Some interesting trades happening though, because we just saw a ton of the HP pool from Incineroar just go up in smoke just now.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage for an Assault Vest Incineroar. Usually you see something like a Muddy Water on Tapu Fini, but the Hydro Pump is a fantastic reveal. Proving to do way more damage to the Incineroar, and with the sacrifice of not having accuracy drops. But now I think Diny's in an even better position because they can bring in the Regieleki and go for something like an Electro Web, KO the Incineroar, lower the speed of anything that Ally brings in, and the Tapu Fini should just be able to clean something up. And I also think it's very interesting how much work Spectre is able to put in this game, given that Ally has 2 Dark types on their team that scare it very much.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to even just in team preview just decide, I need Spectre for this matchup. I'm just going to have to play around it. And sure enough, we've seen such an excellent plays from Diny that really showcase that what it takes to bring a Pokemon that's at such a disadvantage when looking over at that side of the field. But Naganadel comes back in here. Only 2 HP left here. Might get sacked here, honestly. And we do see Urshifu going for a Protect. I would be worried about a Dazzling Gleam coming out from this Tapu Fini. An Electro Web comes out, is going to lower the speed on this Naganadel, and it's going to knock it out as well. Interested to see what Tapu Fini goes for here. If they went for a Calm Mind, I think it's pretty much over. No, a Dazzling Gleam does come out, and sure enough, I think, it's quadruple effective. It would have easily brought it down to its sash anyways. No need to Calm Mind, I guess. But this Incineroar is going to come in. It's going to give some fake out pressure, and thanks to the ability on the Urshifu, it's going to be able to target really whatever it wants. But this Tapu Fini is just such a force. Like, there's nothing really I think that the Urshifu can do, even though it's at half HP. I'm not sure if this Urshifu has any tools really to be able to knock out this Tapu Fini, and this Regieleki still is also just a massive threat.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I definitely see what Ally was going for there, trying to reset the fake out pressure. But I think Diny just has too many pieces left for Ally to pull this off. I think they can easily go for something like a protect on Tapu Fini if they have it, or maybe even just throw out an attack. Get that Eliki out there with a hard switch. Bring something in like Rillaboom that has fake out on their side. And then at that point, I don't think Urshifu can beat Tapu Fini and Regieleki, especially with a full health Regieleki in the back.
Yeah, I think the win condition, I think Ally recognizing that this Tapu Fini is going to be the thing that might be the end of this run here, but we do see the Electro Wave come out that's going to chip off the Focus Sash on the Urshifu. It does so much damage, maybe leading me to confirm that that's specs, honestly. But with a flinch, this close combat isn't enough to knock it out. It's not super effective, and no, I think you need a crit there in order to be able to knock out the Tapu Fini, which is almost certainly going to make this game 2 go for Diny, which is very exciting if you are on the Silage City Colossals.
Yeah, definitely a very well played game here. We should just see the Eliki and Fini able to clean this game up. They should be able to just throw in attacks on both Pokemon and finish off this Urshifu. But yeah, definitely super well played, especially in that game 1 with the taunt to sort of shut down the Suicune early on, and then sort of reposition in a way that the Landorus and Eliki could finish off the game there.
And there we have it. We do see Diny wrapping up game 2. After the game 1, I do want to go back to game 1 and talk about game 1 a little bit. During game 1, I saw, we all watch Ally just snipe out that Rillaboom right away. And I was immediately just like, all right, let's talk about game 2, because that lead was just so massive immediately. But we saw Diny just play out of their mind, honestly, and really position that Spectrier so well. That burn on the Urshifu really changed the flow of the game, because I think Urshifu would maybe have been taking knockouts constantly, but it wasn't even able to knock out the Spectrier when it went for that Wicked Blow. And so really just a fantastic game 1 comeback. And going into game 2, I really felt that Diny really had a lot of momentum in their favor pretty much the whole time. And so a really fun, exciting set to watch, especially under those circumstances. And as I look over at the Silage City Colossals, currently in week 1 against the Alola Arachnids, they are at a deficit of 2-4, so this will bring them up to 3-4. And I think there's one more game that is yet to be played here, and so they might be able to tie it up and might be able to stay in it, considering the Alola Arachnids currently are 4-2.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, some great adjustments there from game 1 to game 2. We saw the Spectrier put in work despite the 2 dark types. Even against, in the face of Urshifu, was able to burn it and sort of negate the damage. But yeah, totally. just a really well played game from Diny, and also a well played game from Ally as well. Well played on both sides. Very exciting, and a good introduction to this new format that we'll be exploring in this draft league.
Yeah, honestly, so excited that we finally get to play without Dynamax in this type of format. I hope everyone watching is also excited for it as well, because we have 3 more matches coming to you on the stream for the week 1 of the Sootopolis City League. Please stick around. We'll have another matchup for you very shortly.